Hello, it's Anand here, and today I'm going to talk about dealing with procrastination. Um, and I think it's something that many of us experience, particularly nowadays, because there's so many options and choices that we can go for. Um, and we can do this particular task or this particular hobby, and often many of us actually procrastinate or we put off. The other thing is that we can procrastinate on is maybe a particular job that you really don't want to do. And you know you have to do it, you know you have a deadline looming, and yet you will do anything but that particular job. Or in my own case, I love to draw, and for some reason, I find myself sometimes where I'll say, today I'm going to draw, and I don't. I will do everything but to actually do the drawing. So, I want to talk about procrastination and how emotional wellness can help you with that. Because, joking aside about procrastinating, maybe not drawing, but if we procrastinate many things in our life and find ourselves getting stuck, maybe we're stuck in a cycle of deferring everything, putting it off, and maybe just doing things that are harmful or destructive for ourselves. Uh, and you can take your pick of whatever that is. But you're doing everything but the very thing you need to do. And then the worst thing is what it does to your mind and your emotions, your psyche. You know, you're aware you have a pending deadline. You know you have to get it done. You know if you procrastinate, it will have a big impact on you. And yet, you will keep deferring and deferring and deferring. And at the same time, in your mind constantly, in my own experience particularly, and I've heard it from others, that your mind constantly reminds you, you have to do this thing, you have to do this thing, you have to do this thing. So you're very aware that you're procrastinating, as I am very aware when I procrastinate. And I have in the past been locked in this cycle of self recrimination, anger, having a go at myself. Why are you not doing the thing that you're doing? And the more that I recriminate myself, the more I procrastinate. Do you find you're in the same position? Well, coaching will look at the behavior, and the emotional awareness coaching I offer will look at this behavior, and then we start to dig. So yes, the behavior is procrastination, but what's under the procrastination? Well, I have to do this particular task by this time, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that job. Well, why don't you? Exploring what's about that. Or if you find that, all of your life, the really important things you're procrastinating, maybe underneath that, you're overwhelmed. Maybe underneath that, there's fear. Maybe underneath that, there's an inner judge or an inner critic that's saying, well, if you do that job, you'll do a really bad job. So you put it off. You'll make excuses. You'll say, well, no, I'm busy. I have this thing to do or that thing to do. So with the emotional wellness coaching, you start kind of digging underneath the surface of the problem. Now it's not like therapy. Therapy might explore the process, why procrastination happened from, say, a childhood trauma or some trauma in your life. Coaching is about action, about examining the situation, looking at what it is, the driver of the behavior, and then making a plan. Okay, so you've identified perhaps you've an inner judge, and that causes the procrastination. And from there, we'll kind of use coaching to say, well, how can we work with this inner judge? What steps or plan can you make around this to address this? And then that in turn will help and support you dealing with procrastination. So I just wanted to give a little taste of what emotional wellness coaching can do when you're dealing with procrastination. And just for yourself, if you're thinking about this and maybe you want to manage it yourself, do a little digging underneath. What's underneath the procrastination? And if you feel like, no, I don't know if I can get to the bottom of this, or you want additional support, I would love to coach with you. So there are details in the description box below on how you can book a free discovery call with me. They last for an hour and we can talk about the issue and you can get a taste of the coaching, and I can answer any questions you may have about the process, and there's a lot more and give you a lot more information. So just a key takeaway for you if you're dealing with procrastination, look what's underneath it. You've got the problem, but what's underneath that? Is it an inner critic? Is it an inner judge? Is it fear? Or is it you really don't want to do this particular task? Well, then why don't you want to do that task? Perhaps you find actually the work that you're in isn't suiting you. Or perhaps you don't want to have a conversation with that person and you're procrastinating and putting it off because there's maybe an imbalance in that relationship, or you have fears around communicating. There's a whole host of reasons why you might be procrastinating. But just like lifting the hood under the bonnet and taking a look can really pay dividend for you as to why you're putting those dreaded things off. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.